Saludos Rebeldes, this is Julio Ricardo Varela, Julito 77. We're just sharing this 9/11 tribute video. Some of the Rebeldes have videotaped themselves thinking about 10 years ago on September 11, 2001. Hope you like it. God bless.
Hello, my name is Rodrigo Sanchez Chavarria. I am a spoken word artist of Peruvian heritage. I was born and raised in Lima, Peru, and I'm part of a collective called Palabristas, which means wordslings, a collective of Latino writers based in Minnesota. When 9/11 happened, I just recently celebrated a 1-month anniversary of marriage to my wife Nubia. I just started a new job at the University of Minnesota with the student activities office as a student liaison, but also a front desk person. And we received notice right away that something was going on from one of the cultural centers. No one could get access to anything, the internet or CNN or all that stuff. So we went down to the best thing, which was the TV that was downstairs. And people from the culture centers and people who worked in that building gathered around and watched the horrific events of the planes crashing, of everything else that everyone knows of 9/11 for now. But to me, the aspect of invincibility and the aspect of innocence and also your own mortality became more real. In Peru, I experienced a lot of events that I don't want to relive, with the aspect of terrorism, car bombs, shootings, police raids, toque de quedas, that kind of stuff. And when we moved here, was one of the reasons that we decided to stay here was because those things were not seen or thought of happening here in the United States, and this really made it really real that anyone and anything is not untouchable. And it really brought a sense of a little bit of despair and anger. And I called my wife. I told her I love her. Classes were canceled that day, so all we could do was just sit and talk and figure out how we could help.
Enriquez. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I am proud to be a Rebelde. On September 11th, 2001, I was woken up by somebody telling me a plane had struck the World Trade Center. I remember thinking to myself, it must have been a medical emergency. There is no way somebody could have intentionally crashed into the World Trade Center. It's a huge building. You can't miss it. Unfortunately, we all very quickly found out that in fact it was a very intentional act. It was an act of terrorism. 10 years later, the memories of that day are still very fresh in my mind. The feelings that I had, the feelings of anger, the feelings of how dare you, the feelings of who could have are still very fresh in my mind. Recently, I watched a special on National Geographic talking about September 11th, and it was very difficult for me to watch that. My prayers and thoughts go out to the families of September 11th victims, all the families that lost somebody on the attacks of the towers, the first responders who are still having health issues because of the asbestos and the dust, to the families that lost somebody in those planes, to the children that will no longer have fathers or mothers, for that matter, because of that attack. My prayers and thoughts go out to you every single day. We thank you to the first responders for your bravery. We thank the men and women who were there also helping after the event to clean up. We thank you for your bravery and your efforts. September 11th must be a day that we must never forget. It has to be a day much like the greatest generation that ever lived had their Pearl Harbor. This is our Pearl Harbor. We must never forget, never forget, never forget.
As the plane just goes over my house, I'm over the flight path in Boston. Logan Airport's probably about 10 minutes away. What I remember about September 11th, 2001 is the confusion, the fear of losing your friends and your family. I do know people that lost family and friends in the Boston area. My own uncle was going to have a meeting at the Department of Sanitation right across the street, but it got canceled at the last minute, and he walked all the way back to the Bronx where my aunt picked him up. So there's a lot of people that I know in New York that also not only saw the loss of life, but were affected by it just that day. One of the things that I remember about September 11th was a sense of community and country, and the fact that we were all in this together, and we all put our differences, and work for the common cause. Although that common cause has seen its ugly head in how we treat our fellow American citizens who are of Muslim descent, how we treat our politics, how we just pretty much hate each other. I hope the spirit of 9/11, that unity of America, lives on. And I hope we never forget those months after where we all seem to be a little bit more human, a little bit more compassionate, and just a little bit more believing in community and in this country. I still believe in this country. Sometimes I have problems with it. But I think if we remember that feeling of community, and that feeling of love, and that feeling of humanity that really emanated from 9/11, and if we never forget that, then maybe there is hope in this world.